Well, good morning. For the last session before you get to head towards lunch, and I apologize, we are running a little bit late, so Harsh, let's jump right into it. I'm Shawn van Raay, I'm the CIO of Payments Canada. It's my great pleasure this morning to talk with Harsh Sinha, who's the CTO and US President of Wise. Harsh, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here. It's been 8 years since I was in Toronto, so
well, welcome back. So Wise is growing fast, particularly across the America region. Very exciting, very, very good time for you guys. Can you talk a little bit about what Wise is looking at from a growth perspective across your markets, specifically or including Canada for the year ahead?
So big room, quick show of hands. How many people have heard of Wise? Can I? Okay, good. It's always good to poll the audience and see who you're talking to. Just take a step back. So Wise, we help people move and manage their money around the world. We are aiming to build a network for the world's money. We started this journey, and I started this journey with Wise about 10 years ago. So I'm hitting my 10th anniversary this weekend.
Nice.
We've been around for about 13 years. And the whole problem around cross-border money movement is very large. So actually, about $30 trillion moves across borders every year. This is people like you and I, maybe sending money back home or to like some friends across the world, small businesses, and also big corporates. And the problem is still massive, and it's actually fundamentally defined by that it's very expensive to move money around the world. It's very slow, and it's very opaque. It's non-transparent as to what fees you're paying. And that's what we've been working to solve. So over the years now, we are at having 15 million users who move money around the world using the Wise network. We move about 200 billion Canadian dollars across the world every year, and that's growing about 30% year over year. And we are about moving 5% of the personal market share. So like 5% personal market share, like when consumers are moving money around the world. What I'm excited about in general and where we're seeing growth is this continued adoption, because the problem of cross-border money movement is only increasing. People are more mobile now. People are moving around the world for education, for relocation, and the cross-border money market is actually growing in itself about 30% year over year. So it's an expanded market. We're seeing a lot more consumer awareness of how things, there are different providers. So people are not just using their banks, they're using fintechs like us and other players. So there's a lot more comparison happening. From an Americas and Canada perspective, we just launched our product in Mexico, which we are very happy about. So if there's people sending money back from Mexico, you can do that. But also in Canada, we've been investing more and more into the Wise account, which is the ability for people to hold funds with Wise and be able to get a travel debit card so you can travel around the world. Canadians travel a lot, so next time you're traveling, you should check it out.
Excellent. One of the interesting aspects of Wise is your global footprint, and the fact that you see organizations in countries from around the world in the different regulatory frameworks and so forth. We've begun our modernization journey here. We're looking forward to the launch of RTR and unleashing the benefits of a really truly modernized payment system. I think the RTR and Wise will work very closely together. I'm interested from your perspective, certainly from a global point of view, what do you think Canadian policymakers and regulators need to focus on as we prepare sort of for that modern system?
Yeah, so I think payments is going through an amazing revolution in what's happened in the last 10 to 12 years. So I've been in e-commerce and payments for over 20 years now, and I haven't been more excited to be in this space than in the last 5 to 10 years. Every country has gone through their modernization journey. Like, so you've seen these things in India with UPI, with Brazil with PIX. Japan's going through the same journey. We saw it in Australia, UK, and it's exciting to see what Canada is doing now, right? So I think while we started a bit slow here, but like it's now starting to, the conversations that we're having is really the conversations we should have been having for a while. I'm excited to see how we're talking with the RPAA, the ability for non-banks to also access the payment system. I think it's very, very important from what we've seen globally over the last 10 years, enabling on a risk-based approach, enabling non-banks to access the core payment system allows for new innovative solutions to be built, which leads to more options for the citizens of that country, lower pricing, just better payment experiences, right? So I think this happened in the UK in 2017, where we became the first non-bank to get access to the instant rails there. And since then, there's been 30 other companies who are non-banks that have got access. And all of this has led to better payment experiences for UK citizens, but also a much lower pricing because competition has happened. So I think generally it's a good thing that we're looking at this in Canada. I'm also excited about the RTR launch. So hopefully we do get the rails launched, and it's of course very important what was being said before. We have to test these things, but once you get over that hump, and we've seen these launches across the world in other jurisdictions, again, given we are connected to these payment systems across the world, once you get over that hump, the innovative ideas that come on how the experiences you can build is amazing. So I think it's very important to get this done this year, hopefully, so that from next year on, Canadians get to really experience amazing payments experiences on instant rails.
Yeah, and I think we've heard that, they hear that theme here. We've heard it earlier today. The testing and making sure the foundation we're laying for RTR is solid, and it's going to operate the way we need to operate, the way we expect, and the trust we need to have. But then really the innovation on top of that.
Yeah, one more thing I'll add is, like, last bit is actually taking a step back when we look at different markets that we operate in.
Yeah.
Canadians are paying a lot to move money around the world. I mean, people pay a lot generally, but if I look at the numbers, you're paying about 5 to 6% in markups in foreign exchange fees. And I'll tell you, like, when I first moved from India to the US for grad school in 2000, I'm dating myself now, 2003, I paid 7% in markup the first time I moved INR to the US. It's amazing to me how other parts of the world, the markups gone down and the fees have gone down, but Canada still is pretty high. And I think the biggest thing that we've seen is when fees are non-transparent, if you don't know what you're paying, that's when you don't know how to compare. So, there is definitely a need from a regulatory perspective to push for transparency on fees. It's fine to have a fee, but you should be clearly transparent on how much you're paying for the transaction. And FX markup is, fees basically eventually. So I think there's some headway needed to be made here in Canada around enabling transparency.
I think it's a fascinating point. We saw that same trend with transparency in the wires space, several years ago, and that requirement in from SWIFT to be more transparent in the fees. So seeing that same obligation, that same opportunity in the retail space in the real time is important. So just talking about that innovation, and you mentioned it a couple times, the innovation we're putting on here. Sort of what is most exciting for you at Wise and the Canadian payment systems regarding innovation, collaboration, transformation? Just sort of as we wrap up the conversation here, and I do apologize for our short time today, but I just want to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about the innovation that you're excited for Canada, and how you can see us being a little bit different than perhaps some of the other jurisdictions you operate in.
Yeah, I mean, as a technologist, I will say, people have talked about AI before today. So AI obviously is going to change a lot of things. But I'm not as gloom and doom as most people think, right? So I think actually the tools that the fraudsters have, guess what? We have them too, and we should lean in. And actually, I think now consumers are way more aware. There's a lot more awareness around like what things can happen, because people are actually experiencing AI in their daily life, because people are downloading ChatGPT and they're seeing what's happening. So I think the education cycle would be faster for consumers. And also the technology that you have with the touch points you have with people being on their phone is way better than previously, where we first started with like doing online banking, where fraud was very high. So I wouldn't say it's something to be scared about. We should be obviously preparing our systems and the consumers to make sure we can serve them well, but we need to lean in to use the same tech. And actually, I think we are much well qualified to do that. So I sometimes worry when I come to these conferences and hear the fear mongering that's happening around. There's going to be so much fraud, so much fraud. Like, fraud's been around in payments forever, and we've somehow managed to run very strong businesses and profitable businesses and help the consumers. It's our duty to do that. From a overall transformation and overall Canadian marketplace, I think it's pretty exciting to see there's changes in regulation around direct access. It's exciting, really exciting to see finally Canada talking about instant payment rails. I think the experiences in 3 years, if we were back here on stage, we'll be talking about very different and very amazing experiences that have been created because of real-time rails. And actually, the consumers kind of expect this. It's kind of a shame that my son knows when his Lego is going to come to the doorstep on Amazon, to the point that he can open the door and knows the delivery of his Lego is there. It's a physical item, but we still talk about 5 to 7 days in payment settlement times. It's ridiculous. It's just bits and bytes moving through a network. And the last bit, I think, is I think there's a great opportunity with firms like us to collaborate with other providers. So we have a part of a product where we open up our infrastructure to others to build on, which is called Wise Platform. And it's the same infrastructure that enables you to move money around the world that we use. We have about over 100 financial institutions, including some of the world's largest banks now integrated, who basically use us as their correspondent. To give you context, Wise charges about blended 53 basis points in fees to move money around the world, where most places the fee would be 400 basis points, right? So, and we are profitable and we're a public company, right? So the scale at which we are operating at, we can provide these experiences to your customers. And the best experience is actually, for example, if you are banking with RBC, you're already in the bank experience, integrating Wise as a correspondent to give instant settlement to the other side of the planet, to Australia, where we can do 65% of our payments instantly within 20 seconds. That's an amazing experience that keeps your customers in your ecosystem. So I'm actually pretty excited. We have EQ Bank, if they have people from EQ Bank here. We already work with them, but there are others that we're looking to work with. And I think that is pretty exciting for us as we continue to collaborate with big financial institutions here in the market.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for your time today. I think the themes that you hit on today around collaboration and really understanding the fact that the consumers today are closer to the innovation and more well-educated and more aware of their expectations in the past, I think is going to help for a lot of the stuff that we're going to do together in the payment system. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Enjoy the rest of the conference and have a great lunch.
Thanks.